Let's dive into this fascinating idea of a third Tim Burton Batman movie and the legacy of the Batman franchise overall. We'll explore the production journey, why it didn't happen, and how it ties into the greater legacy of the Bat. Batman 3, Tim Burton's abandoned vision and the legacy of the Bat. In the early 1990s, Tim Burton's Batman, 1989, and Batman Returns, 1992, were iconic in reshaping the superhero genre. Burton's dark gothic vision paired with Michael Keaton's portrayal of Bruce Wayne/Batman set a new tone for comic book adaptations, one that was far from the campy 1960s Batman TV show. But after the success of Batman Returns, a third film was expected, and even planned. Yet, for various reasons, this third Burton Batman movie never came to fruition. Production beginnings and Burton's vision. After the success of Batman Returns, both critically and commercially, the anticipation for a third film was high. However, Burton's relationship with the Batman franchise began to sour during the making of Batman Returns. Despite the film's success, it faced criticism from both audiences and corporate executives, particularly due to its darker, more mature tone, which was less family-friendly than the first film. McDonald's, for example, was upset with the film's darker tone, as it felt it conflicted with their kid-friendly image and the marketing for toys and Happy Meals. Despite these tensions, Burton was open to a third movie, but with his own artistic vision. He wanted to further explore the darker side of Gotham and its characters, and potentially introduce even more outlandish Gothic elements. There were reports that he was considering bringing in the Scarecrow as a primary villain, and that he was aiming to expand on the themes of duality, obsession, and darkness that defined Batman Returns. However, things began to unravel as Warner Bros. Wanted a shift toward a lighter tone. They realized the toys and merchandise were suffering due to the darker nature of Burton's films. They wanted a more commercially viable direction, one that would attract a broader audience, especially children. The shift toward Joel Schumacher and the end of Burton's Batman trilogy. This creative clash led to Burton stepping away from the director's chair for what would become Batman Forever, 1995. Joel Schumacher, known for his more colorful, campy sensibilities, was brought in. This marked the end of Burton's era with Batman, and Schumacher's film was decidedly lighter, with a more flamboyant approach to villains, like Jim Carrey's Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face. Batman Forever was a box office success, but it also signified the end of Burton's darker, more nuanced take on the character. It's interesting to think about what a third Tim Burton Batman could have been. Burton's Batman was more about the psychological depths of its characters, blending fantastical elements with a very human tragedy. His Gotham was a character itself, gothic, eerie, and almost oppressive. Burton's exit from the franchise left a sense of unfinished business, and fans still wonder how his version of the Bat could have evolved. The legacy of the Burton Batman and Michael Keaton's return. Although Burton's trilogy never came to be, his Batman films had an undeniable influence on the superhero genre, which would later see a more modern resurgence in the Dark Knight trilogy and the DCEU. Burton's films grounded Batman in a darker, more serious world while still allowing for the surreal. They showed that superhero films could be more than just spectacle. They could be an exploration of psyche and identity. A fascinating part of this legacy comes in the form of Michael Keaton's return as Batman. After nearly 30 years since his last turn as the Caped Crusader, Keaton reprised the role in The Flash, 2023. His return was a nod to fans who had grown up with him as their Batman, and a direct acknowledgement of Burton's influence on the character. Keaton's Batman, as we know, is defined by his more introspective, emotionally conflicted nature. A Batman struggling with his own demons, but still standing as a figure of hope in Gotham's dark, twisted world. The fact that Keaton came back in The Flash not only fulfilled a nostalgic fantasy, but also showed how Burton's Batman still lives in the cultural consciousness. It was a bridge between the eras of superhero films, between the grounded, gothic style of Burton and the more modern takes we see today. Keaton's older, more weathered Batman in The Flash carried a sense of bittersweet nostalgia, representing both the end of an era and the timelessness of the Batman character. Batman and its enduring legacy. The Batman franchise has certainly evolved since Burton's films, with many reboots and reimaginings, each offering a different take on Gotham's protector, from the camp of the 1960s to the grittier vision of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, and the more recent performances like Robert Pattinson's in The Batman 2022. Batman continues to serve as an ever-changing mirror reflecting our society's fears, hopes, and moral dilemmas. Tim Burton's influence on Batman, however, can still be felt today. His approach to the character was a departure from the more straightforward heroism seen in other superhero films, creating a Batman who was deeply flawed, complex, and haunted by his past. He embraced the darkness of Gotham, allowing the film to feel like a fairy tale wrapped in shadow. Conclusion. So, what if Burton had made a third Batman movie? Would it have continued the legacy he had begun, or would it have taken the character in a completely new direction? We'll never know. But what we do know is that Burton's Batman films are a cornerstone of modern superhero cinema, and Michael Keaton's return as Batman is a testament to their lasting impact. The legacy of Tim Burton's Batman lives on, not just in its films, but in how it shaped our understanding of what a superhero movie could be. From the dark, gothic streets of Gotham to the return of Keaton in The Flash, the influence of Burton's vision is still very much alive, and Batman's story continues to evolve, one iteration at a time.